Hi, this is Christina Loyally, and today I'm going to be doing a screen capture of how to access my Google Classroom site. This is something that I could do for either my students or for the parents of my students. A lot of times I'll post different things on my Google Classroom, whether it be additional resource materials, links to online books, the vocab words that we're working on throughout the course of the week, study guides, things like that. So it is very useful for my students and for their parents to be able to access it. So the first thing that I would do is to tell them that they have to log into their Google account or their Google Drive. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. Okay, now if they're not logged in, they would have to log in. What they want to eventually do is to select Classroom. In the beginning of the year, students receive a code in order to join our Google class. So at this point, they should all have joined. Their parents can also access it as well. So the one that we want to look for is this one here, Language Arts Literacy. They would click on it. Notice the 2019 to 2020, so they know they're in the right year. And again, the class code is up here. It's also posted in my classroom, so at any time, parents or students could access this. So once they're on my Google Classroom, a couple of things to pay attention to is I will post things that are useful to them. For example, here I've posted this morning at 10 o'clock in the morning, The Hound of the Baskervilles study guide. This is the study guide for the novel that we started reading yesterday. So if students were to lose their copy or if they need an additional copy, they could just click on it like this. And it will open up to the study guide. Okay, so they can look it over. All the chapters are outlined with study questions, and they're able to print it out from home if they lose it. So that's definitely one thing that's important for them to see. Students themselves can actually post comments, and if they post comments, I could answer them. I also post their journal assignments, so I put down what marking period we're in, the journal number, the date that it was done, and then I'll put in the prompt. At the end of the marking period, students do have to submit all 5 journals. It counts as a test grade, so I always tell them that they are available on Google Classroom if they're absent for a day, or if at the end of the marking period they're missing a journal here or there. Okay, notice here, marking period journal entry number 4 was from October 28th. This here is another tool that I posted. It's a blank pre-writing template. This is something that we were working on when we were writing our signpost essay. It's just kind of a writing outline to help my students organize their ideas. So there's always extra copies available in Google Classroom. This is also the signpost pre-writing template that I organized for them with examples. So when they were writing up their outline, when they were organizing their thoughts, I passed this out in class, we went over it, but again, in case students leave it in their locker and they want to work on it the night of, or if they just lose their copy, which happens quite a bit for my 6th graders, they could go onto Google Classroom and they can access it here, and it gives all the information that they would need. Okay, further down, my co-teacher posts the vocab words, the definitions, and the parts of speech each week so that students, if they lose theirs or if they don't get a chance to finish them, they are here. So when they're quizzed at the end of the week, they can look and make sure that they have the correct definitions. Okay, this is our writing rubric that we use in 6th grade. I've posted it here for my students. We'll use that throughout the course of the year. When we did our book report instructions on September the 23rd, I posted the instructions on our Google Classroom. That way, again, if students lose them, they're able to log on, they're able to see them, and if they're working the night of, they can kind of see exactly what they need to do. The last thing, or the very first thing that I posted on our Google Classroom is the Language Arts Literacy syllabus. Okay, this is a copy of the syllabus that's handed out on the first day of school. We go over it. It explains grading, it explains the required materials for class, our textbooks, what the curriculum is, some of the books that we're going to be reading, it talks about journals, book reports, it does talk about our Google Classroom, late assignments, what to do if you're absent, the class rules, consequences and rewards, and then the bottom portion is for the students and the parents to sign, indicating that they've read it and they understand what their child and what the student is responsible for the entire year. So again, if students lose this between my classroom and their house, they could print out an additional copy because this does have to be collected. If we scroll back up to the top, okay, just a couple things that they could also kind of access on our Google Classroom. They could look over at classwork at this, okay? If I wanted to assign something to the class, I could. I have not yet done so. Okay, here it'll tell who the teachers are, myself and my co-teacher, Mrs. Lynch. It also lists all of my students, so I could kind of contact them if I need to. And there is an option for grades. I don't post grades on our Google Classroom, however, you could. And the one that it usually opens up to is the stream page. So this is definitely something that benefits my students as well as their parents. I like them to be able to access things 24/7. So even if they're not in my class or it's very late at night and I'm not answering an email, they can kind of go here and they can even post a question, for the class and other students can answer. So this would be my little mini tutorial on how to access a Google Classroom page. I hope it was informative and I wish you the best of luck.